inner self with your external being. And one of the things I recently learned was that our souls do not reside within our body. In fact, it's exactly the opposite. Our body resides within the soul. The soul is this amazing energy that concentrates so much that it becomes a physical body. And that is what we are. And through this physical body, we create this reality that we live in. Now, this is obviously not the easiest for people to understand, unless, of course, you're studying string theory, where it talks about there are 11 levels of vibrations or different strings, and when it becomes extremely dense, these energies, they represent themselves as a physical entity, and which is also the same when you look at a simple molecule or an atom. If you look at anything like the camera that I'm filming myself right now, the clothes that I'm wearing, all these things, if you go deeper into it, they're made out of components which are made out of certain chemicals which are together with using chemical bonds. And if you go even deeper, they're molecules, there are atoms, there are electrons, protons, and quarks, and so on. And then if you go further deep into it, they're just energetic bonds, and from there onwards, they're just energy, they're nothingness. So everything that we see around us is literally created with a lot of nothing, or that's what we think. And it intensifies into all these amazing things that we see around us, and we can touch, and we can feel, we can hear, we can smell, we can taste, we can listen, we can sense. So once you go deeper down this level, you will start seeing that our intentions, our thoughts about what we desire or what we don't desire, they manifest, ideally based on the frequencies that we are sending out. And how does this reflect on a day-to-day basis when it comes to work? So let's say you wake up really tired, not necessarily in the mood to go to work or even get dressed for that fact. You would rather just lounge in your bed, just put on the TV, just chill out with a nice cup of coffee and have that weekend feeling. But you can't do that because you have children to take care of. You need to get them ready, get them out, make their food, lunch packets, and you need to get them to school, kindergarten, wherever it is, and then you need to get yourself together and rush to a job or meetings or so on. And it's not necessarily always comfortable. Most of the time it simply is not, but it is part of life that you expected or accepted. And how do you break out of that mold? How do you bring yourself into a situation where, of course, it's nice to do it every now and then, to rush yourself out, to get your kids out, especially when it's minus degrees outside, and drop them off at school, and then rush to work and to take care of your chores. But there are days where you want to just lounge. There are days that you just wish that you don't need to do any of that thing. You just take it easy. And because society has put all these boundaries on us that we need to live in a certain way, and systems around us say that the children need to be at school at a certain time, and so on, and you need to drive at a certain time of the day to avoid the traffic, and so on. So these specific things put us into an external prison, or rather an internal prison, a prison that we have created to ourselves. Yes, I have to fit into society's norms, so I have to buy the roses for my wife's birthday. I have to get my children up by a certain time and get them out so they make it in time on school, and I have to drive half an hour before so that I avoid the traffic, so I don't get delayed, or I need to catch a certain train, so on. So once you start adhering to society's rules, you'll see that you are completely lost yourself. And yes, rules are very important to keep us, just like the train tracks. Otherwise, you wouldn't want to be taking that train that does not go on tracks. Uh, and same as traffic rules, cannot drive anywhere you want to. You need to follow a certain set of rules if you want to get from point A to point B safely. Of course, you can drive without any rules, but there's a high chance that you will not get there safely or get there at all. Most probably you'll be stopped halfway, either by a police car or by a tree or something very hard. So it is very important to have these rules, but then it is up to us to say and to basically think, are these rules really completely governing myself, governing my freedom, governing my ability to live a happy life, a peaceful life, my ability to thrive, my ability to live by my desires? Or are these rules, or are you taking these rules too seriously? Are you going way overboard with these rules? Are you following them way to the T that it is literally making your life miserable? And most people are, 99.9% people are living their life exactly to the T, to all these specific rules, which is making their lives miserable, which is taking them out of the freedom of life, which is taking them away from their desires. So you have to step back, because these rules are not made by us. Of course, we respect them when others are involved. You do not drive on the wrong side of the road. You do not drive above the speed limit or even below, for that fact, if it's a highway. You do not go and defecate or pollute where there is drinking water. You respect that. You wear the right clothing. You use the appropriate language in place. But it's very important to be very thoughtful about these rules and start building your own set of rules, your exceptions to what society's norms are. And that is, I believe, is the first step of you starting a life of freedom, starting living driven by your desires. And of course, as I mentioned, if your desire is to do unholy things to people that hurt them, that takes from them, that steals from them, then you really have to question that. But if your desire is to entertain people by taking random pictures of people with their consent or interviewing them in the streets and making them laugh, then you need to learn to step out of society's rules, where you cannot, as society says, do not, or society does not say, but it's an accepted norm in certain countries, where you do not speak to random strangers in the bus or in the train or in the streets. So if you want to live that desirable life, you should be able to step out of your comfort zone, step out of society's frame, and go and speak to that stranger. Say, hi, hey, I want to interview you. I want to know what you think about X, Y, Z, so on and so forth. Can I take a portrait picture of you? Like my friend Dino, whose link below here, you can check him out, who takes portraits of random people, which is just a small step outside of society's frame, but those steps are what makes a big difference in your life, both as an entrepreneur as well as an employee.